Greetings to you all and welcome to San Antonio. I thought it might be nice for this week's Punctibyte for you to join me in San Antonio. I'm sitting along the historic river walk here, and later this afternoon I'm going to be fortunate to go visit the Alamo. So I'm going to see if I can show you around. Now I can't see what this camera's doing, so forgive me if this is ridiculous, but this is the river walk you can kind of see here. It's been an absolutely amazing visit. I've been working a ton, which sounds hilarious, but this is a great working environment. I met Chrissy at a conference here, and so I've been getting a lot of work done, but we've also been playing so much, and last night I had the best Italian food I've ever had in my life, so absolutely wonderful. I'm going to go ahead and take us right to the schedule today so that we can look at this first full week of November. We'll be doing labs 20 and 21, and we will be finishing off the unknowns. And so on the 8th, we will be assigning the unknown report, and we've decided that the due date for that will be the 15th, and that will give the late coupon people until the 20th to turn it in. So with the late coupon, they actually will not get a full week, but they will get until the 20th to turn it in. And I will be in the lab limited hours on that day that they can come by and bring it to us on that day. So in looking also at some of the busyness of this week, we will be having our third lecture exam. So particularly on the 6th, I will be running around like a chicken with my head cut off as usual, and all of you know quite well how to help with that lecture exam. So thanks to those of you who are doing that lecture on the 20th, it will be additional biochemical tests that we'll be bringing up on that day as well as on Lab 21. Bo, Alaya, and Mara, you're back up for Open Lab again, and so we'll be excited to see you there on the Friday the 9th. Let's talk just a little bit about Labs 20 and 21 and the TA guidelines for those. And before I leave this behind, I just actually wanted to thank Marielle and Callie who took over Open Lab when I was gone. And thank you so much for taking the buckets out and just going above and beyond for that day when I wasn't able to be there. So taking a look at Lab 20 then, couple of things that we need to keep in mind. A few things that you need to do before the lab starts. We need to make sure that the camp station is fully equipped. And I did notice last time that in the afternoon sections, some of the students were having trouble performing tests because there weren't the right reagents out, and it made me wonder what had gone on the morning section. So in the morning labs in the 8 and the 10 a.m., we better make sure that they got good oxidase and catalase test results, because I'm worried that they didn't have the right controls or the right equipment out at those stations we noticed later in the day. So we might want to check with that. We can also make sure the camp station is ready to go, make sure that the hot plate is turned on for staining, and that everybody that has a gram-positive rod is getting their stains done. We also will be introducing the terms for growth in a tube, and it's helpful if we can show the students how to observe those growth patterns both before and after they have mixed the tubes. So all are important. I will try to also write a list of these on the board and maybe do some drawings for them, but you all can help me remember to do that as well. We also have that change, remember, in which we're asking the students to write detailed entries in their lab manual and really have that synthetic process from lab manual to typed tables, so that those will be rewritten entirely. So that's just something that we want to make sure we're sort of pushing them to do, and getting those tables filled out really nicely in black pen in their lab manual prior to then retyping them in their own words. And remember, that's the main point there, is to try to keep them from copying and pasting from my summary of biochemical tests. There are a few notes in here about what we'll be lecturing about on that day, as well as explaining that the MRVP test will stay in the incubator for just a little bit longer until Lab 21, and they'll be doing that right at the beginning of the hour during Lab 21. So if we can remind them that they really need to be ready on the beginning of next lab to begin their MRVPs right away, that will be fantastic. Okay, so then let's just jump and look at the Lab 21, and a couple of things to remember there. I already mentioned beginning the MRVP tests immediately. Before beginning, make sure that we have assigned the lab reports, and they'll be due that next week or a little later with the late coupon. Students who did have a gram-positive rod can flood their starch and spirit blue plate with iodine before we get going on the lecture, and that'll give it time to absorb into the auger while we're doing the lecture and hopefully be able to see that zone. We will be explaining that test as well as the citrate test in the lecture that day, so it may be nice to have them hold off on interpreting their citrate test until we've had a chance to explain what that test does do. Okay, I think that that's most of everything for this upcoming week, and I hope that you all are having a fantastic day. I'll tell you all about the Alamo and how that goes.